So the vote that occurred in the Senate last night, that pretty much ends for the foreseeable future, and given what's going to happen this November for the forever, ends legislation for voting rights that has been a top Democratic priority since the Democrats took control of Congress and the White House in this last election. I mean, that was the whole idea, wasn't it? Senator Raphael Warnock, Democrat from Georgia here. Whose ass did he kick? I think he kicked that white woman's ass. Don't even remember her name. Don't need to. But Senator Warnock said, quote, "This is a moral moment," end quote. And that's exactly what it was. This is about morality. And fascist Christians have none. They wouldn't know the word morality if it jumped out of the bushes and bit them in the crotch. They have no morality. What they have is a bunch of fascist dogma that's been pounded into their goddamn heads since they were 3 years old, Catholic or Protestant. That's what happens to them. And that Freedom to Vote John R. Lewis Act, that Sinema and Manchin and 50 goddamn Republicans said no to, that would have made Election Day a national holiday. It would have ensured access to early voting and mail-in ballots. You know all this. And the early voting and the mail-in ballots especially become real popular during this pandemic. And it would have enabled the Justice Department to intervene in states with a history of voter interference. And of course, it passed the House only because the Democrats had a majority there. But that's what it would have done. And then these dirty fuckers, Manchin and Sinema, this is a part that makes me just want to punch holes in the wall here in the Daniel Scapin studio. These two thugs say they support the legislation, but because the Democrats fell short of the 60 votes needed to push the bill over the filibuster by the fascist Christians, they weren't going to have any part of it. The two scum, Manchin and Sinema. Oh, my God. Now, the mechanics of how this went down, and I don't understand this shit, but I'll just quote it to you. Both the bill failed to advance 51 to 49 on a party line vote. And in that vote, Chuck Schumer, the Senate Majority Leader, cast a no vote against the bill so it could be considered later. I don't know how that works. And then next, Chuck Schumer put forward a rules change for a talking filibuster on this one bill. Now, that would have required senators to stand at their desks and exhaust the debate before holding a simple majority vote, rather than the current practice of just allowing these senators to privately signal their objections. You know, a filibuster, when it started out, you had to fucking stand there and talk. Now all you have to do is say, hey, listen, we're not going to vote for that, and make it clear that the Senate will not come up with the 60 votes to bypass this filibuster horse shit. That's all you have to do. But even Schumer's talking filibuster rules change failed because the two son of a bitches, Manchin and Sinema, were not going to change Senate rules for this one particular situation. You bastards. You bastards. Some of the highlights, I guess, or lowlights, when Senator Dick Durbin, Democrat of Illinois, asked Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell of Kentucky whether he would pause for a question. McConnell, being the filthy, goddamn turtle-looking son of a bitch and Chinese agent that he is, left the chamber, refusing to respond. Durbin said he would have liked to have asked McConnell, and this is why McConnell left, this question: do you really believe that there's no evidence of voter suppression? Jesus Christ. And this racist, ugly son of a bitch, McConnell, left before, when Durbin said, hey, can I ask you a question? And the number 2 Republican, this pissant from South Dakota, John Thune, at one point he said, I'm not a racist. Who the fuck called you a racist? Beware of people who deny things that they've not been accused of. Because they're talking, what they're denying is the voice in their own head. John Thune knows goddamn good and well he's a racist. He's a fucking white male American of a certain age. He is a racist, period. And rather than acknowledge that, he doesn't have to take out a billboard or a neon sign, I never did, that says I'm a racist. All you have to do, John, is confront it. Inside your own heart and soul and brain, just confront it and deal with it. Just standing there like a dumb fuck saying, I'm not a racist, doesn't mean anything, John, except what it really means is just the opposite. Of course you are. Now, the turtle, he was the instigator. He led the fascist Christians in doing away with the filibuster's 30 or 60 vote threshold for Supreme Court nominees to please Jesus fucking Donald Trump. I mean, he did it then. You see, this is the part that makes me crazy. But he warned against changing the rules again. You filthy son of a bitch, you. Oh, my God. I can't be king of the world. I can't be president. Maybe if I could just be one of the ancient Greek or Roman, preferably Roman gods, and give me a handful of thunderbolts, okay? And let me sit up here in heaven with my bag of thunderbolts. There's a few people I would like to target. McConnell then made fun of what he called the fake hysteria from Democrats over these new laws in the states. And he called the bill, the John Lewis bill, this filthy pig McConnell called it a federal takeover of election systems, which it's not even fucking close. But McConnell knows who he's talking to when he says something like that. Dumb, illiterate, ignorant white people. Dumb, illiterate, ignorant white people who are wandering around this country absolutely eaten up with fear of the Negroes. The Negroes are coming. Oh, my God, they're going to vote in another Negro president. Well, they already have a vice president. Yeah, I know. Look. We're going to lose our privilege. Jesus, how sickening is this? And then McConnell admonished the Democrats in his nasally little speech. And he said that doing away with filibuster rules would, his words, quote, break the Senate. Did it break the Senate, you turtle son of a bitch, when you did it to get these 3 scum on the Supreme Court? Well, and Manchin, that rat bastard, he said changing to a simple majority rule Senate for this one situation, in Manchin's words, would only add to the, quote, dysfunction that is tearing this nation apart. You son of a bitch, you. Once again, reverse speak. It's just the opposite, Manchin. And you hypocritical white devil, you know it. You know what you're saying is the exact opposite of what the truth is. Several members of the Congressional Black Caucus walked across the Capitol building to get into the Senate chamber to listen. Representative Jim Clyburn, highest ranking black member of Congress, said, quote, we want the Senate to act today in a favorable way, but if it don't, we ain't giving up, end quote. Well, Representative Clyburn, with all due respect, what are you going to do? Here's what you have to do. Again, with all due respect, Representative Clyburn, here's what you need to do. You need to make sure that not only is there a Democratic president, but there is at least a 10-seat majority for your party in the Senate and a simple majority, albeit a safe one, in the House. Then not giving up would make sense. But until then, until the divide in the House and the Senate becomes that 60-40 in the Senate and a safe, simple majority in the House, until that time, there's nothing Representative Clyburn can do, just like there's nothing that President Biden can do. It's a legislative act, not a presidential directive. Oh, God. Now, there's another one, another voting on change. It's called the Electoral Count Act. That was the one that was being challenged, of course, on January 6th, the riot by the scum, the cowardly little pricks who are part of the Trump cult. And Manchin said that senators from both parties were working on the Electoral Count Act, and it could draw Republican support. Oh, go fuck yourself, Manchin. In the last moment, you'll vote against it anyway, and you know you will. You prick. And then Murkowski, Republican of Alaska, she said a bipartisan coalition should work on legislation to ensure voter access, particularly in far-flung areas like her state, and to shore up Americans' faith in democracy. Murkowski said, quote, we do not need a repeat of 2020, when by all accounts, our last president, having lost the election, sought to change the results, end quote. Well, Miss Lisa, ma'am, if I may, as I stand here tugging at your sleeve, may I ask you something, Miss Lisa, ma'am? If that's the case, why in the fuck didn't you vote in favor of the John Lewis Voting Rights Act yesterday when you had a chance? So stuff it, Lisa. You're just like cinema, all hat, no cattle. You know, deep breath. Oh, God. She said the Senate debate had declined to a troubling state. She said, quote, you're either a racist or a hypocrite. Really? Really? Is that where we are? End quote. Lisa, I know it was a rhetorical question, but let me answer it for you. Yes, that's exactly where you are. That's where you are personally. If you're not a hypocrite, why didn't you vote in favor of the John Lewis Voting Rights Act? If you're not a racist, why didn't you vote in favor of the John Lewis Voting Rights Act? Huh? Which one are you, Lisa? It's not that the debate has been reduced to an either-or situation. I would like to ask you, if I had the chance, which one are you? Are you a hypocrite or are you a racist? Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. As you know, we've switched formats and are now broadcast exclusively on the Progressive Voices Network. So that means you get fewer program interruptions, no corporate commercials, and lots of profanity. But our format change also means some of our radio listeners no longer hear the program. It's been a while since I mentioned our podcasts, so you may have forgotten that there is a way to listen to this program anytime you need a good dose of screaming. Visit MikeMalloy.com and subscribe to our podcast. As a podcast subscriber, you can download the program to your mobile device and take me with you wherever you go. And if you have a friend who needs a dose of truth-seeking, you can give a gift subscription as well. That's MikeMalloy.com, and never miss a minute of the uncensored fun and frivolity.